this particular prayer is basically asking God to expand our chest so that it's easier for you to grasp all the knowledge. Okay, so make it as a practice. Okay, so for today's class, how to share. Why do we have like breakup rooms here? That's a bit weird. Okay. Okay, now let me share my screen. Where is it? Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, all right. Okay, if you have any questions, you can just stop me. If you think that I'm going too fast, also you can stop me, okay? So for today's class, we are learning about Ijtihad and its role in the development of Islamic law. Bismillah. Okay, so Ijtihad, first of all, we have to look at the introduction part. We want to know what does it mean? What does Ijtihad mean? What are the definitions? What are the terms used? What are the other terms that link to this process of Ijtihad? And then when we're gonna look at the validity, the sources of Islam that support the practice of Ijtihad. And then later on, we're going to look at the role of Ijtihad, which is the main part of this particular topic. Which is what are the scope of Ijtihad, and then what are the significance, and then we're going to look at the conflict. This is also an important part for you to pay attention to, because there is a conflict nowadays whether we can still practice Ijtihad or not. And then after that, we're going to look at lastly, we're going to look at the conclusion. Okay, so for the introduction part, Ijtihad is commonly accepted concept in Islam. Okay, the way I'm conducting my class, I'm going to read it for you first, and then I'm going to explain it to you, okay? So let's read it together. Ijtihad is commonly accepted concept in Islam, and one cannot deny its legitimacy. So basically, everybody accepted it is one way for you to extract what is the ruling or the hukum of Islam. Okay, and it is a legitimate way to, and it is accepted in in Islamic community. So Islam is a complete, there's some mistake here. Islam is a complete code of life which catered to the spiritual, moral, and material needs of human beyond time and space. So from the last class, we know that Islam is a way of life. So it covers every aspect of life, from we open our eyes in the morning when we wake up, and then until we go to sleep. So basically, it covers everything from the spiritual aspect, your moral aspect, what are the material, physical needs, the emotional part, and then whatever we have in our Quran, in our Sunnah, it covers from during the Prophet times, okay, during Prophet Adam's time until today. So it also gave new principles and laws acutely needed by the people. So as the world transformed, as the world evolved, we have like many other new things, new trends, new technologies that we humans had developed. All right, previously we are using animals for us to commute from one place to another. We are using horse, we are using camel and everything for us to commute. Now, and then we have developed transportation, for example, and then we have aeroplane, we have jet, we have a lot of things. Last, how do we communicate between people? We are using animal as well. We are using a bird, specifically a pigeon. So nowadays, and then the world transformed. We are using the mail, okay, the hard copy letter. And then after that, we have technology. We have emails nowadays. We have WhatsApp. We have Telegram. We have a lot of platform for us to communicate. We have Zoom with us today to help us to communicate between countries. So because of that, what happened we want to know what is the new ruling, what is the new hukum for these new devices, new technologies that have been established by us. So to respond to the changing need of society, Muslim jurists and scholars have relied on the well-established process of innovation, which is ijtihad. So in order for, we cannot look in the Al-Quran or in the Sunnah to find what are the new rulings for using TikTok, what is the new ruling, what is the ruling for us to use devices like iPhone, Samsungs, or TikTok, or iPads and so on. So we don't have it in the Al-Quran. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna extract whatever theory that we can get from the text of Al-Quran, and then we're gonna look at As-Sunnah if there is any explanation on it before, and then there is this process known as Ijtihad, where we make new rulings based on the text of Al-Quran and also As-Sunnah. Okay, so this is this process not only on the Al-Quran and religious tradition, but also on reason deduction. What is reason deduction? Remember, we went through this the secondary sources of Islam, which is Al-Qiyas, and also prioritization. Okay, Ijtihad is also an Islamic legal term that means independent reasoning. It means a particular person which has the knowledge, skill, a very expert one, okay, he has the full knowledge on that particular in Islamic area, so he makes a ruling based on his knowledge, okay, or the utmost effort an individual can put forth in an activity. So this is the Islamic this is the meaning of ijtihad. It means he makes decision, he makes an opinion, he makes an effort to give ideas based on certain reasoning. So this is through the institution of ijtihad that attainment of aims of Islam is not only possible but is also actualized. So we don't want people to get stuck at something, whether they can do it or cannot do it. So if nobody is gonna make any ruling, nobody is gonna give any ideas about it, so it's gonna be hard for us to move on in our life. It's gonna be hard for us to, sorry, I think I need to see few faces here. Okay, so I don't feel like I'm talking alone. So it is important for Islam to actually help us to move on in our life. Okay, so today there are many different opinions surrounding the role of ijtihad and the qualification of mujtahid in modern society. So please remember, these are the two important crises, I would say, or conflict, because people are asking whether we Muslim people need ijtihad or not, because we already have a lot in Al-Quran, in As-Sunnah, and we have Qiyas, we also have Qiyas, Ijma, we also have Istihsan, Uruf, whatever I stated last time with you. So do we still need to practice ijtihad? Do we still need our modern jurists, our ustaz and ustazah, to give their opinions on matters relating to Islam? Because it is possible that people might abuse it. People might change the ruling just to make ourselves feel comfortable, okay, just to make our life easier. So because we don't want people to make it flexible just for the sake of making our life easier. Okay, we want to stick by Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. So that's why people are asking, what are the qualification of these people who are gonna give this opinion? Who are they? Okay, sorry. Alright. Alamak, macam ni tak nampak pula. Okay, wait. How do we? Right. Alah, I want to see people faces. How annoying. Wait. How do we make it? Okay lah, I cannot. Okay, so let's look at the definition. Ijtihad derived from the Arabic word jahada, which means attempt. So attempts means that you make a try. Okay, so let me help you to understand it better. So you try. Attempt means try. So you try to think, try to use whatever you have, your knowledge, your skills, to come out with a certain ideas, okay? The term is used particularly in such occasion where hardship and efforts are involved. So for you to make an attempt, it means you are facing difficulties, you are facing challenge. That's why you have to make an attempt. For example, you are trying to go, you wanted to go hiking. So there are challenges. So what happened? You are facing a lot of challenges. So what happened? You make an attempt to go hiking, to go up until you reach at the top of the mountain. So that's what you are doing. Is it hard for you to go up until to go to the top of the mountain? Of course it's hard. Okay, because that's why you have to make an attempt. It's a challenging process. It's a process where you have to use not only your physical strength, but also your emotional, your spiritual, and also your mental, your knowledge. How we go about it? How to go safely, securely, and successfully for you to go up to the mountain. So because of that, that's why we use the word jahada, which means attempt, because you have to go through quite a process before you can come to a conclusion, okay, for you to make a ruling. So according to Imam Ghazali, ijtihad means to expand one's capacity in certain matter and use it to the utmost. So you probably have this much. Wait. So you probably have this much ideas or knowledge, but now you want to expand it. You want to use it for you to come to another conclusion for new things, okay? So some scholars have defined it as a mean of expanding to the fullest capacity. So you are trying your very best to come to a conclusion by the mujtahid in seeking the knowledge of Sharia. So the perfect definition of ijtihad would mean that one has spent so much effort in pursuit of the knowledge of Sharia that further pursuit is humanly impossible. So they are trying their very best. So it's not just a normal process like someone asks you, where do you want to eat today? So let's just randomly pick whatever. That is the hardest question ever. So where are we gonna eat today? Okay, so you just cannot like blurted it out from your mouth. Let's just randomly pick lah. Okay, you cannot do that. In ijtihad, you have to think carefully. You have to use all your knowledge. You have to make references. You have to go to certain other experts, certain other ustaz or ustazah. You have to go to the library and read books and find and do your research, do some analysis before you can come to a conclusion. So basically, it's a pursuit of knowledge. Okay, the use of the word pursuit, it means you have to work hard for it. Okay, next. Okay, Al-Amidi defines ijtihad as to spare no effort in the quest of discovering the supposed rule of the Sharia, in the sense that mujtahid leave no stone unturned. So it's what Al-Amidi defines is almost the same. It is a process which requires hard work, which requires you to find a new knowledge, okay? And then Ibn al-Hajj defined it as the exertion of the mujtahid whole effort in his attempt to establish the anticipated rules of the Sharia. So we probably do not have it like a specific ruling about it in the Al-Quran or Sunnah or whatever sources that we have now. So we have to come up with a new one. But we have a slight idea whether our religion will allow it or not. For example, you at this point of time, let's say this trend of people dancing and then record and make it public. So will it be allowed or not? So knowing that our religion always asks us to be modest, for us to behave and have a good attitude, we know that this behavior is not acceptable in our country, in our religion. So because of that, you have quite a slight idea whether it is allowed or not. But still, in order for you to come into a definite or ultimate or final rulings, you have to go through certain procedures before you can come to a conclusion. So that one is the jury's, the current our jury's job, our jury's responsibility. But you have anticipate some ruling about it, okay, because you are a Muslim, and then basically at this age you are matured enough and you have some ideas about our religions. You also are basically a student, so you must have some slightest idea whether it is allowed or not, and then you have make an anticipation whether what are the ruling, what will be the ruling. Okay, so the word is derived from the root word. According to Alama Abu Al-Hasan Ali bin Ismail, Ibn Saidah said that means hardship and difficult. Okay, and then Ibn Manzur Al-Misri says jahad or juhud means power and strength. He adds that it is said that whereas jahad means hardship and difficulty, juhud give the sense of power and strength. In the same work, okay, Ibn Al-Manzur states that ijtihad and tahajjud means exertion of power and strength. So we know that the word ijtihad basically means something difficult, challenging, attempt, tries, power, strength, hardship, difficult. So these are the words that explain ijtihad. Sorry. Okay. So can we practice ijtihad? Is it allowed in Islam? So I quoted as-sunnah first. It's not because Al-Quran is less important, but because you have went through this particular hadith with me last time, and then because it explained part of the definition part. Okay, so this is like redundancy between for you to understand what are the definitions and also the sources of Islam. Okay, so the Prophet the Prophet Muhammad SAW desired to send Mu'az ibn Jabal to the Yemen as a governor, and then the Prophet Muhammad SAW asked him, how will you judge a case? And then he answered, I will judge in accordance with what is in the book of Allah, which refers to Al-Quran. And then the Prophet asked again, so what happened if you cannot find it in the Al-Quran? And then Mu'az answered that, I will look at the Sunnah of Messenger of the Allah. And then what happened if there is nothing said in the Sunnah? And then Mu'az said, I will exercise my opinion and not flag, become wary in so doing. And then after that, what the Prophet do, he tapped Mu'az's chest and exclaimed, praise be to Allah, who harmonized the messenger of Allah to what pleases the messenger of Allah. So what I want you to focus is the word, I will exercise my opinion. So for Mu'az to exercise his opinion in making rulings, it means that he wanted to make ijtihad. If after looking at the primary sources of Islam, the Al-Quran and the Sunnah, if he cannot find anything there, he gonna make his own opinion, but based on Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. So in this particular hadith narrated from Mu'az ibn Jabal, the phrases in which he said that I will exert to form my own judgment, showing that this judgment will be executed by putting in complete effort and exertion to achieve the same purpose. So the purpose of making decision, they have an objective, they have a particular objective, a primary objective, which is to make sure that it is aligned with what the Sharia wanted. They do not want to divert from what Islamic law, from the Islamic teaching. So the Prophet Muhammad SAW expressly validates Mu'az ibn Jabal word when he was sent to Yemen as a governor. So the act of Rasulullah tapping Mu'az's chest showed that he agreed with Mu'az that this is how you supposed to come to a conclusion, how you're supposed to live your life. Okay, at the end of the day, worlds are changing. we transform the technology evolve. So because of that, we gonna have to make decision one after another, okay, and it must be based on Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. So the famous tradition of Mu'az ibn Jabal legalized the validity of ijtihad, is quoted to ascertain the applicability of ijtihad. It means it can be practiced in Islam. It is allowed in Islam for you to practice ijtihad when there is no clear proof for the said matter. But pay attention that before you practice, of course, there is some criteria that you have to fulfill. There are some checklists that you have to fulfill before you practice it. Okay, it is more important in the development of Islamic law and opens a gate to fiqh that will helpful for developing the law when coming across new situations. So it is very important, the practice of ijtihad. So because the topic today, I have to deliver to you the role of ijtihad. So it's very important in the development of Islamic law. So in Al-Quran, the validity of this practice mentioned in Surah An-Nisa verse 59, where he says, "O you who believe, obey Allah, obey Messenger, and those charged with authority amongst you." It means we have to obey our God, our Prophet, and then those who in charge as a leader. Okay, we have to rely on these people that have been appointed as a juries, as Islamic juries, as mufti. We have to rely on them on certain matters. If you differ in anything among yourself, refer to Al-Quran and Sunnah. If you do believe in Allah and the last day, so that is best and more suitable for final determination. Okay, so this is just a repetition from Imam Ahmad and also Tirmizi, saying that the Prophet Muhammad had confirmed the methodology in giving any hukums or ruling with Mu'az ibn Jabal. And then other than that, all our Khalifa or Rashidin also make decision based on this particular method, which is ijtihad. First of all, they're going to refer to Al-Quran, and then they refer to Sunnah. And after that, they make decision based on this text, but they have to make an attempt using their opinion, their skills and knowledge before they come to make some conclusion for a new situation, for a new things that doesn't have hukum yet. Okay, so these companions of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam were in a position to interpret and apply the principle of Sunnah with the least possible error. So they will try their very best to minimize any error. So that's why they have to study. They have to pursue knowledge. Remember the word pursue just now. They have to try their very best to come to the nearest hukum that they can that basically they cannot like basically imitate or copy Al-Quran, but they wanted to come as near as to the hukum that that what we have in our Islamic teaching. The practice of ijtihad remained the norm rather than the exception during the era of 4 Khalifa. So it is a norm. Okay, the current norm that we are having, you have to practice social distancing, you have to wear a mask, you have to sanitize your hand. So that practice at one time, it is very rare and we do not practice it daily. But after COVID-19, after the COVID-19 pandemic, it becomes a routine for us. So that's what happened with ijtihad during the 4 Khalifa times. Okay, after Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam passed away, these 4 Khalifa have to practice ijtihad and make it a norm, because they are facing new stuff every day. The people are coming to them asking for their opinion, and then they have to make rulings out of it. So they have to make ijtihad. Okay, so therefore, ijtihad that was performed by the Prophet companions is not subject to reinterpretation. So it is stated that whatever these 4 Khalifa had come to a conclusion, we cannot reinterpret it anymore. Okay, So the definition. So we will go back and forth between definition and also validity, okay? Because it's basically interrelated to each other. So according to Shatibi, he defines ijtihad as a process in which one exerts one's effort to one's full capacity in order to acquire exact or probable. So the word exact, we're trying, like I said just now, we're trying to come to minimize the error. We're trying to come to the possible rules that is very near to our Islamic teaching. Okay, knowledge or wish judgment in the given case. So next, Ijtihad in Arabic means effort. Okay, the independent or original interpretation of problem not precisely covered in Al-Quran and Hadith. So because we don't have it in our in Al-Quran and also Hadith, that's why we have to make our own opinion. Okay, so it is important for you to make sure that you have we do not have it in our in our primary sources first before we wanted to make an opinion. Okay, so technically it means deduce the hukum amid varying interpretation of legal injunction of Al-Quran and Sunnah and construe hukum or any new ruling from the Quran and the Sunnah in order to address new legal situation. Okay, person who perform ijtihad is called as mujtahid. So whoever practice ijtihad, we call him or her mujtahid. Okay, mujtahida. So the validity. There are many Quranic verses ensure to validate, to explain, and also explain about the importance and significance of ijtihad. So in Surah Ar-Ra'd, it stated that indeed, okay, I'm not gonna read the whole stuff for you. Okay, I'm gonna just read part of the verse which is significant. So it's stated in Surah Ar-Ra'd, verse 3 to 4. Indeed, in that are signs for people who give thought. Indeed, in that are signs for people who reason. So in this particular surah, we human are being encouraged by Allah to give a thought about something, to make a reason. We must use our brain, our knowledge, of what we from the knowledge that we have, from the skills that we acquired. We should have use it for something that gonna benefits our religion, especially ourselves and our society. So we must use our brain and give it a thought about something, and then we must reason. So it allows us to think. Because of that, we are very special creation. We are very special creation where God make us with a brain which can think. Okay, they just not like put it like what what the animals have. They have a brain, you can eat them, but they are basically not functioning like human's brain. Okay, and then in Surah An-Nisa, it's stated here, so you may judge between the people by that which Allah has shown you. So Allah also allowed us to become a judge. Become a judge means that you have to make decision. You have to come up with your opinion. So basically, you are making ijtihad. Okay. So there are many verses also which support the use of ijtihad by qiyas. Okay. Remember last time, qiyas means that you try to. It means analogy, deduction. You try to imitate. Okay, for example, last time in our class we stated that Al-Quran mentioned about wine but did not mention about smoking. Al-Quran mentioned about how men or husband cannot touch their wife during menstruation, and then we apply it to the current question whether man or husband can touch their wife during the postnatal period. Okay, so by doing that also, by practicing qiyas also, it means that you had already exercised the power of ijtihad. Okay, so you already make opinion based on it. Just because there is a particular procedure, there are certain elements that you have to fulfill, you name it as qiyas. But basically, when you practice that one, you already make ijtihad. Okay, so these are the verses that you can look into. Okay, in Surah Ali Imran, verse 159, consult them in the matter. So you have to go to the people who can that you can consult with. Okay, you have to go to them and then consult with them. And then when you have decided, then rely upon Allah. So you have to decide. Islam do not ask you to think, give it a thought, go do your research, make some analysis, and then just stay there. Okay, Allah told us to decide and then practice it. Okay, move. All right, so this is in Surah Ali Imran. And then we have Surah Ashura, verse 38, stated that whose affair is determined by consultation among themselves. So you have to consult again. We have to go meet this certain expert of Islamic law, of Islamic teaching. Okay, we have to go to them, this ustazah, your Islamic jurist, probably your mufti, and then consult with them on new matters that we don't specifically have it in the text of Al-Quran and also As-Sunnah. So there are also other related terms. Okay, for example, fatwa. Okay, now we are talking about ijtihad. Ijtihad means that you are making an attempt to make decision. So I have mentioned to you in the previous slide, saying that it is related to the practice of al-qiyas. When Mufti makes fatwa, he also practice ijtihad. Okay, so the word fatwa is very related to ijtihad. So the term fatwa means opinion or answer of a question. So in Arabic language, some other synonym for fatwa is delivering an Islamic opinion, or mastafti means that to seek for an opinion. So when you make ijtihad, basically you are giving your personal opinion based on Islamic teaching, your Islam based on your Islamic teachings knowledge. Okay, so the relative terms used in the Al-Quran mention the word istafti, which is to make a request for an Islamic judgment, and then mufti are the one who utters Islamic rulings, and also mufti who is the one who issue an Islamic verdict. So mufti basically is a mujtahid, where he give his opinion. Okay, but these are just terms that are being established for us to understand different concepts, but basically all of them are practicing ijtihad. In Arabic word al-mawrid, the word fatwa or futya means formal legal opinion and advisory opinion. So it's related to law. Okay, it is related to legal part, where if you do not do it, it will be you will either get penalty because you have it in your Islamic code in your country, for example, or you will be facing a penalty, or you will be facing because you don't have it we don't have it in Al-Quran and As-Sunnah, but you are actually doing sin because you go against the Muslim jurists. Okay, so in Oxford Dictionary, because they are being given some responsibility to ensure that our Islamic religion is being practiced properly. So if they come out to one ruling, for example, we don't have these particular rulings on gender transformation, for example, or coloring your hair, and then what happened, or it's not like coloring your hair, like you try to transform gender lah. I think that one we don't have it in our so when you do that, you refer to fatwa, and then fatwa stated that you cannot do anything to change your gender, but you do it anyway. So you have committed sin because you the Muslim juries in your particular country had come out with the hukum for that particular practice. Okay, so in Oxford Dictionary, it is stated that the origin of the term fatwa is ifta, which decide a point of law, which means a legal ruling on a problem related to Islamic law delivered by some authentic and famous authority. Okay, what are the other related terms? The other related terms are taklid. So taklid means to copy or reproduce. So taklid is to follow the opinion of a scholar without having knowledge of their evidence. So for us who do not have any ideas about something which is at a higher level, okay, for example, related to Islamic finance, probably we are not the expert of it. So when the Muslim juries make some rulings on it, we have to follow it. Okay, according to Abu Ma'li al-Juwaini, taklid is to follow someone without having proof and doesn't trust upon knowledge. Taklid is to rely on someone saying without having knowledge of its evidence and arguments. Okay, it means you just trust that particular person. You know that this particular person has been appointed to certain status, to certain position. So you just trust on his decision. So that means you are following. Okay. So what are the rules of ijtihad? So we have to speed up a bit. So the scope of ijtihad does not include the matter of akidah and ibadah. So you cannot make opinion about your belief and how you gonna perform your ibadah. Okay, how you gonna perform how you gonna perform your prayer, how you gonna fast, how much you gonna pay for zakat, for example. You cannot make opinion on this matter. How you gonna do your hajj? Okay, how many times you have to go around the Kaaba. So you cannot decide on ibadah, you cannot decide on belief, okay, because that one is fixed already. Okay, that one is basically have been properly guided in the Al-Quran and also As-Sunnah. So ijtihad also does not occur for that particular matter except in muamalah. Okay, muamalat, which means transaction. Okay, for example, the financial part, the economy part, or ahkam syariah, whose evidence dalil is speculative or zanni and not when the rule is decisive. So, however, if the hukum have been stated in Al-Quran, for example, about the maintenance rights, how much you have to pay for your wife, for someone who for your wife, and then for example sekejap, I tak ingat ni apa tu, berapa banyak that you can give to your adopted children. Okay, that one stated in Al-Quran that you cannot give more than 1/3 of your property. Okay, and then berapa bahagian faraid untuk ayah, untuk ibu, that one has been decided, have been stated in Al-Quran already. So you cannot make any more opinion based on it unless they come a new ruling. For example, what happened to for example, kejap okay, I cannot come with an idea, tapi contohnya ada satu position yang mana kita nak tahu berapa banyak harta faraid yang kita boleh beri kepada seseorang ni, yang mana kenyataan tersebut tidak ada dalam Al-Quran. Dalam keadaan yang tersebut barulah kita boleh come out with a new ruling. If it's not covered by Al-Quran or As-Sunnah. Okay, so the scope of Ijtihad includes most things, including definitive matter, such as the relations between nation state, okay, about social matters, multiplied society, and other issues on social, political, and economic matters, the matters inwardly affairs. So it allowed Islam to be reformed in order to apply to the modern age. For example, for example, vaccination. Okay, vaccination for children. Can you do genital mutilation? Can you do abortion? So these particular this new stuff, okay, can you kill an unborn baby just because you find out that unborn baby in the womb is gonna be a disabled baby, okay? So can you kill the unborn? So these are the new stuff that in this modern area that requires ruling. So because of that, we have to rely on Ijtihad. So this is the role of Ijtihad, okay? And then in Surah Yusuf, okay, it denotes the interpretation, asking for opinion, delivering legal verdict, okay, or leading people, explain to me about my dream, and do not ask about them to none of them. The Holy Prophet said, a knowledgeable people that requested pardon by all the creatures of God in the many heavens and the earth, including the fish that is in the depth of the ocean, come ask forgiveness. The Prophet also said, when Allah wishes good for a person, he make him understand the religion. Another prophetic saying that a single scholar of religion is more formidable against shaitan than 1,000 devout people. So these quotations taken from Al-Quran text and also As-Sunnah is trying to encourage or motivate us to make ijtihad if required, okay? So fatwa has a very important role in Islamic judicial system. Fatwa is an analytical view on a particular issue is estimated by a legal scholar, keeping in view the legal injunction of Quran and Sunnah and previously made decision regarding that specific topic. So we have okay, let me read this one. Abu Hurairah reported that the messenger of Allah said, if anyone gave a ruling without knowledge, then the sin for it will be on him who gave the ruling. Okay, it is narrated, whoever give fatwa without knowledge, the angels of the heaven and the earth curse him. So before this legal scholar, okay, this mufti come out with a fatwa, he must exercise it carefully. The power that have been given to him, he must practice it carefully. He cannot just randomly or just read few books or just waited until he dreams about it and then just write an opinion. So he must study it carefully, makes reference, and then study about other people, other countries' practice. Before he came out with a ruling, he have to rely on many old kitabs, okay, before he came out with a ruling. So what are the significance? So the significance of ijtihad in the complete procedure of Islamic legislation, ijtihad play an important role. It has a central position in the whole process because Islamic law has two levels, which is essential and existential. The first level of Islamic law, being actual spirit, is related to the progress and development. So like I've mentioned before, again and again, our world evolves. So, and then we meet new things that require rulings, okay? here I stated here that demands of life is going to change day by day, and human life also comes under the influence of these changes, of course. So we cannot just macam I'm not buying from vending machine, I'm not doing online transactions, because that one is not allowed. I'm not buying any gold using this particular platform. I'm just going to buy it like doing cash. I'm not going to use credit card, for example. We Muslim people cannot just stop there, just stay at one particular area and not moving on together with other people of other religions. If they move their life if they move their life to a more modern type of life, so we the Muslim also must do the same, but we have to still be within the scope of Islam. Okay, so in these changeable phenomena, it becomes necessary to take on the structural review of Islamic law, but it must be kept in mind that the spirit and the discipline of Islamic law must be alive. So this is what I just stated to you. Although we are moving forward together with the world, we must make sure that we are moving within the scope of Islam, okay? Because we don't want to clash with anything of our Islamic teaching. So the disagreements, so maybe we can skip this. In the process of lawmaking, achievement, responsibility. Okay, okay. So, and then conflict of Ijtihad. So Ijtihad is the transmission of the rules of Quran and Sunnah. So there are questions asked by many people in this era of Ijtihad whether it can be performed or not, because we know that there are quite a flow of knowledge from every sources that we that is impossible for us to quote everything. So is it allowed for us to practice ijtihad nowadays? Because daripada waktu hijrah sehingga sekarang pun kan kita dah celebrate hijrah year for how many thousand of years. So do we still have to perform ijtihad? Is it still required? Because we have made so many rulings within this period, within this 1,000 of years. Just pick whatever we have from the previous teaching, from the previous judgment. Why do we have to perform more and more ijtihad? So what do you think? Do you think that the gate of ijtihad should be closed because for us to stop doing ijtihad? Because we have already, like I've mentioned, we have numbers of decision made already during the four Khalifah times, and then the tabi'in, and then our ulama from the previous ulama, all of them died already, and then someone else have been appointed and then make decision, and they also have died, and then the cycles go on and on and on until our time right now. So do we still can't we just rely on them? So in the 10th century, all the rules of Islamic law had been settled. Okay, so according to this scholar, gates of ijtihad are closed now. So these are just an opinion of some scholars who believe that the gate of ijtihad is already closed. No more new rulings, okay? But scholars are not agreed with the concept of closing. Some scholars are not agree with this concept. Closing the gate of ijtihad means that now new school of thought cannot come into an existence because there is no need for making a new school. Okay, some agree that we should just stick with what we have, and the other group thinks that we still need ijtihad for us to survive the current changes that we have in our world. So by using the original sources, which is the Al-Quran text and Sunnah, and the rules of Islam ijtihad, hold the contemporary problems and try to solve them according to the rulings of Sharia. They believe that why do you have to close the gate? of ijtihad because we are still relying on the text of Al-Quran and the Sunnah. So it doesn't matter. So let's just not close it, okay? So by using the original sources, sorry. Is it the same? Okay, I'm copying the same thing, sorry. So although the slightest difference in the definition of ijtihad do not at first seem significant, the differences may have led to confusion regarding the concept of ijtihad and thus the argument amongst medieval Islamic scholars regarding whether it should or should not be exercised. It makes a contradiction among some scholars of Islam about the notion that the gate of ijtihad was closed or not. Okay, some scholars believe that it should be closed in 13th century. Just now, it should be closed in the 10th century. And some stated that, oh, let's extend it a little bit. Okay, let's close it at the 13th century rather than in 10th century. On the behalf of they believe that all the answers were already there and all that was needed is to follow or obey. So you just have to practice taklid. Just follow whatever we have. Remember, you are following the rules that have been decided before, the judgment that have been made before, without having any knowledge, without having any evidence. You just trust the Muslim jurist decision that have been made before. But the movement for the revival of Ijtihad began during the time of Ibn Taymiyyah, who negate the concept of taklid. The modern revivalist scholar of Islam from the 18th to 20th century also faced the problem on the closure of gate of ijtihad and stressed that it must be reopened in order to meet the challenges that were faced by Islam. So the gate had been closed for quite some times. It's not like a literally a gate, okay? But people are stop making decision and try to rely as much as we can to practice taklid, to realize as much as we can to the previous judgment. So they don't want to make a new one. So at some point, the process of ijtihad all over the world it becomes very limited. Very few people practice it because they think that the ijtihad gate had been closed. However, if they become stressed after that, thinking that there are many new things that cannot be solved because the gate had been closed. So they need to use whatever they have, again, their knowledge, their skill. They have to do their work to help solving these people problem, so that people can move on, okay? So during this time, 18th to 20th century, the gate of ijtihad is open again, okay? In fact, the door of ijtihad was never closed. So it's not like I said, that it's not a literal gate. So it's not like closed. Just the people who practice ijtihad become careful in practicing ijtihad because there are ideas or ideology telling that they should have just stop and practice taklid. So as working within the limits of certain school of law was concerned, historically, this term developed only as a statement to express the historical fact that after a particular period, no new school of law can be established. So certain believe that the ideology of closing the gate of ijtihad is just being told to us so that we do not make any other school of law, okay? School of law, okay? We have this school of thought. We have 4 major school of thought, which is Mazhab Shafi'i, Hanafi, Hanbali, and also Maliki. So we don't want another school of thought being established after a certain period of times, just because we have so many people making rulings non-stop. So we don't want another school to be established. So there is this idea that's why these ideologies have been spread around, okay? Sorry. So for the fulfillment of the requirements of a modern world, Islamic law have adapted by the way of legislation. Contemporary jurists fully try to remain the significance of Islam in the modern world and able to solve the problems by seeing the necessity of the modern age. Islamic legislative principles are based on that view, which are not for specific time, specific person, or specific age, but it is for every period and for human beings. Ijtihad is a legal device which is applied by the jurists from the primary sources as a legislative function for any kind of new use. So the contemporary jurists believe that Ijtihad can be a method or a platform for them to settle or to solve new issues or new problems that have been referred to them. Okay, it is a tool that should be devised, should be utilized. Sorry. So, as a conclusion, okay, in Islamic legislation, Ijtihad plays an important role and has central position in the whole process. So it's very important in our Islamic law. Okay, we wanted to Ijtihad become the main power or the main sources that allowed us to think and come up with a new ruling. So demands of life changes day by day. Does it become necessary to take on the structural review of Islamic law, keeping in mind the spirit and discipline of Islamic? Ijtihad does play a perfect tool for legislation. So for us to develop a new law, let's say we wanted to develop a new law about traffic for traffic issues, for example. So that one we definitely do not have it in our text, in our Quranic text. Okay, so we have to make sure that you are doing it within the Islamic teaching, right? So because of that, in order before you establish that particular rule, we're gonna look whether it is we're gonna practice ijtihad. So let's say people are playing e-games, okay, e-sport. So whether it is allowed or not, because probably certain image in the e-games are not suitable, for example. So people who are playing physical sport, what are the sport attire that they are supposed to wear? If it is made compulsory by the club, the sport club, for example, for you to wear the non-Sharia compliance attire. So can you still be a sport woman? Can you still be a sportman? Okay, so these are the things that require opinion from the Muslim jurists. And then, for example, gymnasts. For example, those people who are playing, who become swimmers. Okay, and then okay, enough with the examples. Regarding fatwa, the jurists follow the methodologies of companions, tabi' and tabi'in. In cases in which they do not find any legal opinions of their teachers related to a specific problem, they themselves try to find out the solution for that problem from the relevant text and formulate their own fatwa. So like I've stated, is they do not just rely on the primary sources or secondary sources of Islam, but they also refers to other books, doing analysis, refer to the expert. Okay, they probably have to go to the medical expert, the vaccine expert, and ask what are the content of this particular vaccine. Okay, let's say they have they do not some vaccination, they have the haram content inside it. So will it become compulsory for you to take it? So if it dangers your life, so Islam do not allow us to danger our life. So because of that, we have that particular text in our Quranic verse. So because of that, probably the vaccination become something that is compulsory for you to take. Okay, because Islam, among others, there are five main things that Islam asks us to do, and one of it is to protect our life. Okay, in fact, that is the number. No, the first one is for you to protect the religion, I think, and then your life, the property, your mental, and then the other one, is it, I don't remember. There are the five things that we're supposed to protect. Okay, sustainable development of Islamic law. Islam is the fastest growing religion in the contemporary world. The basic aim of Islamic Sharia is to provide guidance and way of life to its followers. So we do not know when this world gonna end. So we cannot just stop here and then still commute using camel, because that's what Rasulullah practiced before. We cannot just doing transaction using the gold dinar, just because that's what have been practiced before. Worlds are changing. We are using cards. We are using the online platform for you to, and it is there to ease your life. Okay, in the historical perspective, the star of Islam was at its rise, and Islam crossed borders from Asia to Africa and then Europe when the tradition of Ijtihad was at its height. The Prophet had given the basic principle only to Muslims, which are in the Holy Quran and his Sunnah. He had directed the Muslims to use their judgment in working out details according to the changing circumstances and rising exigencies. So we know that from the previous texts, from the previous Quranic text that we went through together just now, from the Hadith, we are encouraged or motivated to make our own opinion within Sharia teaching, okay, within Islamic teaching. For this, as the benefit of the whole ummah lies in the activity of Ijtihad, Allah promised a reward to a mujtahid. So those in this position are being promised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they will be given reward, they will be given pahala for doing such work to ease the Islamic community. There is a hadith stated that when a judge makes ijtihad and reaches a correct conclusion, he receives a double reward. And if his conclusion is incorrect, he still receives a reward, because it is a hard work. And for you to receive that responsibility, for you to be in that particular position, you have to be very responsible. You have to you have to be responsible to the other people. So because of that, the burden is heavier as compared to me, who just become a lecturer. I don't have to make any Islamic rulings. People are not relying on me. Their pahala or dosa, their reward or sin is not depending on my decision. So because of that, being someone called as Muslim jurists, referred to as Muslim jurists or muftis, it is a hard job. Okay, even for that, even being an ustaz or ustazah also, they are being tested with a heavy responsibility. However, selfish behavior of a ruler's rationalist movement and abolishment of caliphate in its true sense lead the Muslim towards gradual decline, because they stop questioning and critical thinking. So there are certain tactics in the politics who try to stop these Muslim jurists, for example, from performing ijtihad. Okay, some people who are not an expert, being a politician, for example, being someone who lead a movement against Islam, they just try to stop this process of ijtihad. So for example, a dictator leader, okay, stating that everybody have to take vaccination or else we're gonna put you in a prison. So this particular leader or dictator are not referring to the Muslim jurists and ask his or her usually his opinion about the hukum of the hukum of vaccination. Or let's say the dictator or the dictator leader, okay, stated that we have to use this certain economic regime in our country, but that particular regime is contradict to Islamic teaching. So he is not referring to the muftis, he's not referring to the Islamic jurists. So what happened? The countries practice such regime which is contradict to Sharia. So what happened? The Muslim jurist is unable to give his opinion. So in this particular in this situation, people will stop thinking about what is the real hukum in Islam. They will stop thinking, they will stop questioning, they will just follow whatever the leader said. Okay, so this ultimately the Muslim from superpower to mere disoriented people subjected to humiliation in every field of life. As with reference to this, Muhammad Abdul was on a view that decline of Muslim society is because of their ignorance and misunderstanding of the faith, and because of taklid, which is blind imitation. So let's just follow whatever we have without critically thinking that probably what the current situation the current situation that we are facing now probably has some difference as compared to the previous situation. So because of that, we have to use our brain given by God. We have to critically think and make opinions. Okay, thus to regain their eminence, power and glory, Muslim must return to the critical thinking, and key to this remain in the practice of ijtihad. So this is the only way through in which Muslim can make themselves compatible with the existing world and can cope with the challenges presented by the contemporary world. So we also must make sure that we are at par with the other religions, and if possible, we are above them. So without the tool of ijtihad, the gap between Islamic theory or aspiration and contemporary reality or constraint becomes impossible to bridge. So ijtihad is a prerequisite, it is required for the survival of our Islamic civilization. Okay, in our fast changing world, recourse to ijtihad is definitely required. It is a must. Okay, however, there is no need for ijtihad for basic belief or ibadah. Okay, I have mentioned just now, just trying to recap it again to you. But in other matters of change lifestyle, ijtihad is the great necessity. Necessity means it is compulsory, it is required, it is important, it is very significant. Okay, it is particularly important in for example, you wanted to discuss on the status of women nowadays. Can a woman become a prime minister? Can a woman become a leader in at a workplace? Okay, the relationship between different Muslim I'm not sure what is this relation between Muslim and non-Muslim. So what happened if there is a mixed marriage, for example, the role of Muslim and non-Muslim in societies, and Islamic economic theories, and many others. So unfortunately, in a recent past, restriction on the practice of ijtihad were imposed both by religious establishment with vested interest and by repressive government in Muslim countries opposed to democracy and freedom of inquiry. So it has to be understood that freedom of expression is essential to practice of ijtihad. All right, remember when you are giving your opinions, you are also expressing you are also exercising one of your human rights, which is rights to freedom of thought, freedom of giving opinion, freedom of expressing opinions, ideas. Okay, freedom for you to speak. Okay, through which reconciliation of Islam and modernity, as well as reform of educational system, can be successfully accomplished. Okay, that's all from me. We have like 25 minutes for Q&A. Do you have any questions?
Yes, me.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Miss, for the very comprehensive material that you have brought. So my questions seems like last meeting, it might be a little bit out of the topic. So as we know, and that I have mentioned before on my last questions, the spectrum of human activity is so wide. So what if in the future the Sharia law or Islamic law is not relevant anymore towards the human's life? Like this is like the worst scenario of this Sharia law life. So could us make new rules for it, and how if we really cannot follow the Islamic law anymore? Like there is so many people protest towards this Sharia law. And the second question is about the fatwa. So what is the criteria for the person who can give fatwa? What is the measure or the benchmark for someone who is considered as an expert to give an opinion in fatwa? Thank you so much, Miss. Once again.
All right. Okay. I can't quite catch the first one. It means that what happened if it is no longer relevant, whatever we have now in our Islamic law is no longer relevant to catch up with the current changes? Is that the question?
Yes, Miss, indeed.
All right. Okay. So I think in my humble opinion, it is almost impossible for our Quranic texts or as-sunnah for to unable to catch up with the current situation or changes. Okay, because Al-Quran, one of the criteria of Al-Quran is it is general and it can be practiced throughout the era of human life, from the day that the first human is being created by God until the day until the end of the world. Okay, until Hari Kiamat, it is made it is made it is made Allah make a guarantee that Al-Quran will be the main reference that will guide us throughout this period. Okay, remember that we have 4 main kitabs. Okay, Torah, you have to go back through this, and Al-Quran is the final one, which is the most comprehensive text that can be used until the world end. Okay, but it really depends on the people who gonna practice, who gonna come out or extracting hukum from it. Okay, they must have a real they must have they must be very skillful, very knowledgeable for them to do that. Okay, so the second question, okay, the qualification of muftis or it differs between scholars. Okay, some scholars stated that they are 10 criteria that you have to fulfill for you to become a mufti. Some said that they are only 3, they are only 4. So you have to go through these ideas, and then probably if you wanted to come with a final one from your research, you can come out with the similarity of this particular ideas from the authors. So then you can pick up what are the essential criteria of a muftis. Okay, I won't be able to list it to you now. Okay, but these are the ideas of what you can do, because I know there are different ideas, different qualifications being made in every country. Okay, for you to be appointed, it will be different in Indonesia, and then in Malaysia also. I think the appointment of a mufti depending on the ruler, and there must be certain procedures that they have to go through. Okay, any more questions? Sorry, the answers is quite general. Is there any more questions? Okay, I have shared with you the slide in the chat box. Okay, coordinator, what do we have to do now? Since I've finished the class and there is no question from the participants. Do you follow my lecture? Is it fast?
I already download the file to memory.